So I want to look at how this demonic celebration, this celebration of evil, how it came into Western culture. Now this holiday, as it's called a holiday, isn't it? It's known, of course, as Halloween today. However, you can trace it back all the way to Celtic times. So we're talking like 2,000 years ago in what would be now Great Britain and northern France and places like this. You can trace it back to the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain. That's the origin of what is now called Halloween. Now, Samhain was effectively the Celtic New Year, which was the 1st of November. The 1st of November was considered to be the Celtic New Year. It was also the first day of winter as well, when things got really dark and gloomy, especially in the Celtic world. And of course, the night before this would have been considered to be like New Year's Eve. It was the night before New Year's Day. And it was during this time that the ancient Celtics believed that the veil that separates life and death, the living and the dead, the veil that separates the two is that it's thinnest during this time, because it's all dark and the winter has now come. And so they believed that the veil between life and death was at its thinnest. And they believed that during this time, this is when ghosts and spirits would manifest themselves. So some of the traditions that we see today in Halloween are traced back all the way to this festival. Basically, they would also sacrifice animals as well. They would wear the animal skins as costumes, and they would light bonfires to ward off these ghosts, these evil spirits. This is what they used to do in ancient Celtic times. And then around the 8th century, so much later, it then turned into somewhat of a religious holiday known as All Saints' Day. All Saints' Day was the 1st of November, instituted by the Catholic Church. And again, the Catholics love worshipping and praying to saints, don't they? So the 1st of November was known as All Saints' Day. And the 31st of October, the night before, was called All Hallows Eve. All Hallows Eve was the name for that night before All Saints' Day. And of course, it incorporated some of these traditions and practices that go all the way back to the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain. The wearing of costumes and the lighting of fires and things like this. All these paganized elements made their way into what was supposed to be a religious holiday. Now, that is very similar to what we see today in the Western world, in that a lot of the Western culture and the Western church does have elements of paganism mixed in with it. And it's something that we know that God detests. God detests a mixture, especially when it comes to the holy things mixed with the unholy things, the things of paganism. This is what we see quite a lot today in the Western church, is that there is a lot of pagan elements in it, especially some of these holidays. Now, around the 19th century, this is when it became more popularized in America, because Halloween is very much American, isn't it? And it became popularized in America around the 19th century, mainly because of all the European immigrants who came over to America. But it kept all those pagan traditions, all those pagan practices that were associated originally with the Celtic festival of Samhain, and then, of course, with All Hallows Eve. Those practices kind of remained and kind of evolved and then morphed into this, what you'd call now a celebration of evil. That is what Halloween's all about. It's all about celebrating the demonic. That's why we see people going out dressed up like demons and zombies and witches and stuff like this. But unfortunately, it's children, isn't it? And this is why the devil is at work aiming at the children, because the children are the future generation. The devil wants to corrupt the future generation, and therefore this is why we have children in 2 nights' time going out dressed up like demons, celebrating what is effectively a demonic celebration, all these pagan elements. Now, of course, Halloween in America is now the second biggest holiday of the year. There's $6 billion a year in America spent on Halloween. It is effectively second to Christmas. Christmas is the most celebrated and most spent holiday, but Halloween is number 2. $6 billion a year in America is spent at Halloween to dress up like the dead. Now, of course, some of these people profess to be Christians. There are people who actually call themselves Christians and raising their children as Christians, who would also then go out once a year on the 31st of October dressed up like zombies and demons and witches and things like this, celebrating evil, giving the devil a foothold in their life. This is what they do when they go out and celebrate these things. The children are exposed to the evil, aren't they? Now, you've all heard of Anton LaVey, I assume. He's the founder of the Satanic Church. And this is a quote from him. This is what he said: "I am glad that Christian parents let their children worship the devil at least one night out of the year." And that night, of course, is Halloween. And that's from the founder of the Satanic Church himself. Children are out there worshipping the devil and not even knowing it. One night a year. It's one night too many, isn't it?